A New Zealand ocean voyaging group is relieved to have its canoe or waka back home after a mammoth sail to Norfolk Island that was delayed for weeks due to bad weather. The Haunui, a double-hulled voyaging waka, is part of a fleet designed and built to teach young sailors the art of navigating by the stars and understanding how Kupe and his people first travelled to Aotearoa. After battling seasickness and heavy swells around Norfolk Island, the crew was treated so well by the locals, they brought a few of them back here to repay their kindness. Alex Perrottet and our cameraman Nick Monro went along to Maraetai in Auckland to catch the Haunui's arrival.
A homecoming. After days and nights at sea, away from whānau, from the sight of land, without any motorised power or GPS. On a busy morning on Auckland Harbour, among motorboats and yachts, the almost still waters of the Hauraki Gulf are graced by a double-hulled Pacific voyaging canoe guided by the stars. This is the crew of the Haunui, who travelled almost 1,500 kilometres to Norfolk Island and back, the latest adventure in a project aimed at developing young people and reconnecting with traditions of the past. A karakia and a karanga, as elders from Umupuia Marae in Maraetai in Auckland welcome the young crew to solid ground and a long-awaited meal and rest.
Very important, because for our people, without the waka, without our traditions, we wouldn't have been able to get to New Zealand, we wouldn't have been able to find our way here, so it's a very big part of who I am and who I'm going to become.
That's Zaran Maki, a 15-year-old from Whangarei, who says being on the waka was better than being on land. The Haunui took only 5 days to sail north to Norfolk Island, but due to bad weather they were delayed there. Now they picked up some Norfolk Islanders and they took 10 days to return to Aotearoa. Now those on board include kuia and other navigators who know how to be guided by the stars. They do 4 different 6-hour shifts throughout the day and night, guiding the craft back to its destination. Those not involved in the shifts, believe it or not, are sleeping in bunks in both of the hulls of this Polynesian waka. By the 1970s, the indigenous voyaging knowledge only remained alive within a handful of navigators in Micronesia. But bit by bit, and thanks to groups such as the Toki Waka Haurua, the traditional Pacific Ocean navigation is being revitalised and passed on. Tiffany Laitame is from Rapaiti in French Polynesia and is a training navigator. She says that being with a young crew for so long at such close quarters can be a challenge, but there are plenty of others as well.
Sometimes there can be like frictions, so just be prepared before the voyage to be ready to live together, so we stay all together in one house and just like living together. So we are used to each other and we know like how these people react or how the other react, and we can work together as a family.
Since being built in 2009, the Haunui has sailed to Pacific islands like Fiji, Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands, as well as further afield to Hawaii and even to the Galapagos Islands and to the west coast of the United States and Mexico. Tiffany says it's tough for the navigators and skipper, who have to always be on hand and often don't sleep at all.
If you're on the waka, the first things that you have to learn is like to maintain the waka. So yeah, your time is really precious and then you have to give some time to the waka first. So it's all about maintenance, learning culture, learning how to speak the language. Even for me, as a Tahitian, I had to learn some of the Maori words, because some of the captain will like say orders and some of the orders were in Maori. So you have to pick it up really quick.
The longer journey home was a unique experience for some young Norfolk Islanders, including 18-year-old Ivy Carr.
I'm an islander of Bounty Mutineer descent, so I'm surprised I didn't jump repeat history. No, I'm joking about that.
But Ivy says nothing she went through on the high seas could have prepared her for the welcome she received on the shores of Aotearoa.
That was something that I will never forget in my life. It was very emotional, very I don't know. It feels like home. It's really weird. There's like rolling hills behind the cows, the whānau, I think that's how you say it. Yeah, it was very, very special.
The organisers of the Te Toki Waka Haurua say they operate on the basis that all crew must look after the waka and kaupapa first, each other second, and themselves in third place. And the delayed and extended voyage home due to bad weather provided plenty of opportunities for the young sailors. Getting seasick was just part of the rite of passage.
My sister gets seasick, made fun of her, mocked her a little bit, and then I got seasick, and then the auntie did the same thing to me, and then she got seasick.
Zaran Maki was one of a few tamariki who joined the Haunui in Opua, the first short stop in Northland after rounding Cape Reinga. He says just the 3 days at sea was a great experience and there's lots of lessons to be learnt while on the waka.
Discipline. There's a lot of discipline, you know, we do things called anchor watch, and you're up long hours at night and that, watching the waka, sailing at night, and you've got to have the discipline to make sure that you can do it, to stay up and survive, I guess, the lack of sleep and the lack of food sometimes. Another good skill is fishing. You learn to fish for your food when there's no food left. Self-maintaining, you know, since we don't have a shower, got to wash up in some way, so jump in the water, go for a swim, use some soap. Eco-friendly, that is.
The visitors are staying at Umupuia Marae in Maraetai for a few days before flying back to Norfolk Island. And Tiffany will soon head back to Tahiti.
I consider myself as just a canoe in a time. So just like this canoe has a past, and this past was the ancestor and the knowledge. And if I don't learn this knowledge, I can run the waka to the future.
But Tiffany is ready to follow the stars to her next destination as soon as there's an opportunity.
I learned a lot, and every day we learn a lot on the waka. It's not the same, and every sail is not the same too. Yeah.
So what's your next sail? What's your next adventure?
My next adventure? I don't know yet. I'm just following the wind.
And that was ocean voyager Tiffany Leitame ending that report from Alex Perrottet.